Hello and welcome to this video on amortization charts and why everybody needs one, okay? If you have any kind of loan, you absolutely need an amortization chart, whether it's a mortgage, whether it's a car loan, whether it's a loan on a boat, or whatever else. If it's a loan, you need an amortization chart. Okay, so what is an amortization chart? I know it's a big word, it might sound intimidating, it's not, it's super easy, okay? An amortization chart is just essentially a chart that shows us the breakdown of interest and principal for every payment that is made on the loan. Now, what's key about this is for every payment that you make, it is only the principal piece that actually reduces your loan balance. The interest piece does not reduce your loan balance. The interest is just an expense. It's money that you are paying to the bank for them to let you use their money, okay? So ideally, you really want as much of your payment going toward principal as possible because that's what's actually going to lower your balance. So an amortization chart is going to help us here, okay? It's going to allow you to better understand how your payment is allocated in terms of interest and principal. And it is also going to allow you to play around with different scenarios, seeing how possibly paying extra on a loan might change that breakdown between principal and interest and may save you total interest expense in the long run. Ultimately, it allows you to take control of your finances and make better financial decisions, which is what we all want to do. So let's look at how amortization charts work. Okay, so what I have here is just a blank Excel file. Okay, so here's what we are going to do. We are going to right-click down here on Sheet, and we are going to go to Insert. And I'm going to pull this over so that you can see it. Sometimes when you click on Insert, it'll start over here on General. Just click on Spreadsheet Solutions and click on Loan Amortization. Click OK. And it is going to create this handy-dandy little chart for you, okay? Now, what you're going to need to enter is the loan amount. So I'm just going to make up some stuff for this. Let's pretend that this is a mortgage, and let's pretend that the loan amount is $225,000, okay? Annual interest rate, again, this is going to vary. I'm just going to make up something. Let's say that it's 4.1%, okay? Most mortgages are 30 years, so that's what we're going to assume, and pretty much all of them require monthly payments, okay? So the total number of payments in a year is going to be 12, okay? And I'm just going to make up something for the start date of the loan, but it can be anything, okay? And what this does is it automatically creates a table that shows the breakdown between the principal and the interest. You can see that the total payment, and this is just the principal and interest piece. A lot of mortgages are also going to include you know, an escrow for property taxes and homeowners insurance, but this is just focusing on the principal and interest piece of the loan. Okay, so the total payment is $1,087. So you can see that when we're starting out here at the beginning of this loan, a pretty small piece is going towards principal. Of this total payment, only $300 is actually reducing the principal every month. The rest of it is going to interest. Okay, now what's really cool is this little piece over here. Okay, and this is something that we're really going to take a closer look at. Over here, it tells us the actual number of payments that'll be made across the life of the loan, and it also tells us the total amount of interest that's going to be paid. Now, I've got another little Excel chart that I'm going to use kind of for fun so that we can compare some results, but you could easily just jot this down on a piece of paper if you wanted to. Basically, what this tells us, if we pay no extra principal every month, we will pay a total of 360 monthly payments, and we will pay a total interest of $166,391. Now, what's important to note here is this interest cost, this is just the interest. You're still going to pay the principal of $225,000. So the amount that you actually pay over the life of this mortgage would be this principal amount plus the interest piece, okay? So that's why ideally we would like to lower this interest piece just as much as possible, okay? And an amortization chart gives us an easy way to play around with this, okay? So what I'm going to do in this extra payment here, we're going to assume this is extra principal payment. I'm going to play around with some different numbers. And what I want you to do is watch what happens over here in this loan summary, specifically what happens to the actual number of payments and what happens to the total interest, okay? So let's say for starters that I say, okay, well maybe I can put an extra $50 a month, okay? Now what I'm going to do here, if I hover over the bottom right corner of this cell, it's going to turn into kind of a cross or a sideways X here. If we double click, it's just going to drag it down, okay? Going to drag it down for the entire period of the loan. Now, some fun things happened up here. Let's look in this, let me draw my little spreadsheet back over here. Okay. All right, so let's look over here in the loan summary. Okay, some cool things happened. All right, we went from making 360 payments to only making 331 payments. So this is assuming an extra $50 a month, okay? And we went from paying $166,000 in interest to only paying $150,758. Okay, we're talking about a difference of almost $15,000. Okay, so this is a pretty big chunk of change. And remember, this is just the interest piece. So this is expense that you are going to be paying for using the bank's money. An extra $50 a month on a 30-year mortgage could save you $15,000 in total interest in the long run, okay? And we can play around with different numbers here as well. For example, let's say that instead of 50, let's say that we're going to go crazy and we're going to put an extra $125, an extra $125 every month towards the mortgage. Let's see what happens now. Look at this, an extra $125, we're only going to make 295 payments, and our total interest is going to drop down to $132,390, okay? So we're talking about we have taken over 5 years off of the mortgage, and we are saving ourselves more than $30,000 in interest by making an extra $125 a month payment. Okay, now where I think this kind of analysis comes in especially handy, is if you're trying to budget and you're trying to decide, where should we, put our extra money. Now, clearly if you have other, high interest debt, something that's a lot higher than 4.1%, then it probably will benefit you more to put the money there. But if you don't have a lot of other high interest debt, I think this is a great example of how just a little bit extra every month can really pay off in the long run and save you a ton of interest. And this is something you can do with a loan amortization schedule in Excel.